What's up, everybody, and welcome to day 56 of my Casting Everyday Challenge. Now, sadly, I am kind of busy right now, so I'm actually not able to do a full gameplay here, but I wanted to do something. I wanted to kick it back to Hearthstone as well, and it's going to be Miami versus Colorado State here. It's only going to be the first game right here, which it looks like it is Reno lock or hand lock, or not. Actually, with that Sunfury, it might be hand lock versus an interesting shaman. I wouldn't say mid-range, but he has a Hammer of Twilight there, which you really don't see too often. So I'm just going to do this one game, first game between these guys. I might come back to this series as well to finish it off. Just want to get something down out of the way. Been fairly busy for me, and I'm just going to go ahead and get something in. So we're going to start here. And like I said, that Hammer of Twilight is very interesting. That's a card that I haven't seen a lot. I did see a couple of streamers run it, but that's only when they use like a Renounced Darkness and they got Shaman, and it was just a random weapon that they were able to pick up. So not the biggest of weapons here for them. They're easily going to drop it just because of how heavy it is. 5 mana. They're not going to be able to use that until later on. So this is definitely at least a mid-range, if not a late-game Shaman. So we'll have to see how they use that, unless it's full-face Shaman, which would be very weird. But with those Azure Dregs, it's definitely mid-range. We'll have to see how it works out for Miami. This is going to be a very interesting deck list. And looking from Colorado State, it's going to be that Reno lock. Just because of having that Sunfury Protector, I wasn't sure if that was a tech choice or if that was something for a hand lock style deck instead. We have actually seen some people run that up in PAX East when Geico ran their tournament, so I wouldn't be surprised if it was going to be a hand lock, but no, this is going to be a standard Reno Jackson, and Sunfury is probably just a tech choice against the more aggro decks. You see a lot of aggro Rogue, Pirate, and Shaman lately, so no surprise that they threw that in there. So pretty slow turns coming out from both teams. We're going to see Miami either use their J-Claws or going to go with the Totem Golem. And if Colorado State here uses that Imp Gang Boss, which is a great choice against... Actually, no, they're 3 mana. What am I talking about? I don't know why they're hovering it. But it's going to be great against whatever Miami State can... Or Miami, Ohio. Oh, I have to think of that. It's Miami, Ohio. Okay. I always forget that there is a city in Ohio called Miami. It's one of the most interesting things about collegiate sports. Sometimes when you see Miami, you think it's Florida. It's actually Ohio. So one thing I got to work on, talk a little slower, especially when casting Hearthstone. So the thing about this Totem Golem, it does survive from quite a bit, except for Shadow Bolt. And that is one thing Miami kind of has to think about, is if Colorado State does have the Shadow Bolt in hand, it's going to be the easiest clear ever. That's now... a pretty big minion out from the side of Miami, as well as them being now overloaded next turn. Granted, the overloading doesn't really matter too much because they will still be able to Jade Spirit, but we do see that Imp Gang Boss is actually going to be able to do quite a bit in the side of Colorado State. They're going to be able to deal with the Totem Golem a little bit, and it'll actually survive 2 shots from whatever Miami's going to be able to do. The only thing they have to worry about is possibly what will do 4 damage. At 2 mana, I don't know if there's anything unless they're running Crackle. I think that's the only thing, but that's also a range, so they might be good to just throw down this Imp Gang Boss and try to get at least 2 things into it, because at 1 damage, you might see a Maelstrom Portal. But that would be kind of a weak Actually, no, now that I think about it, if they did have Maelstrom Portal, it would be great, because they would be able to trade the Totem Golem and then kill off one of the imps as well, so it'll only leave a 1/1 behind that can't trade into the Totem Golem. Now we do see that Colorado State did find their Mortal Coil, but at this time it's really hard to play around Reno decks, because being only one-offs, they're very inconsistent, so it kind of baits you into saying, like, oh, like, for example, Hellfire. It's a pretty low chance that they actually have the Hellfire in their hand right now, so I could actually build up my board, and then you just get Hellfired. But when there's 2 copies of a certain card in your opponent's decks, then you will always play around them, because it's twice as likely just about that they will have them. But Reno is one of those where you're always like, well, they only run 1, so what are the chances that they actually hold it? But they're going to go pretty aggressive here and just go face and leave up the Imp Gang Boss. And now this is going to allow Colorado State to really do what they want here. They go for a tempo play with the Black Crystal Potion, but I really don't think like that is the good idea. I think right here the Twilight Drake, has just a really good spot right here. It's going to trade in whatever Miami is going to throw down. It's great against Azure Drakes as well, which they might coin out. And it's going to have, let's see, 7 health. when it comes out, and it's just going to be a minion that sticks extremely well. There's nothing on the side of Miami except that they want to throw a Lava Burst into it, and it's going to be just a really tough minion for them to deal with. Even with this pickup of the Flame Tongue, actually, no, they are 1 mana short, but they do have the coin. If they want to coin out the Argent Horse Rider as well, this will be a way to deal with that Drake. The only problem is that there's a lot of overkill on that, and they're still leaving up the Imp Gang Boss, and they're getting rid of their Totem Golem. I think the play here is the Flame Tongue, coin out the Argent Horse Rider. Actually, no, now that I say that, doing that then just allows Colorado State to easily trade with that Drake into that 0-3 Flame Tongue. So I actually don't think like that is going to be the right choice. If you had some sort of taunt, then yeah, it would be. This is a really difficult decision by Miami, because they're nowhere close to being doing lethal, so they really can't just push face at this point. They have to think about, are they going to be able to win the tempo play? And at this point, do they just Lava Shock? That's a lot of damage being wasted, and Lava Shock Jade Claws right now might be their best bet, just because they're going to be able to clear off that Drake and keep their totem alive. But that's still extremely risky. They're going to be taking 4 damage, but it seems like that is going to be the play here. They have to waste a lot on this, and they're going to be overloaded for 3 next turn. The only thing they're going to be able to do really is going to be to use that Flame Tongue, and with the 1-1 on the board, Colorado State has a very easy trade with this Imp King Boss or with the Mortal Coil in their hand. Refreshment Vendor is going to be able to heal them up if they get desperate enough, but they don't need that right now, so they could just keep that in the hand. This is a decision by Colorado State. Do they want to tank up and try to preserve their life total? Granted, at 22 on turn 5, they still have quite a bit, and they already have the Reno in hand, so that's actually something that they don't have to worry about just yet. It seems that they're hovering it right now, but I don't know if that's exactly what they need. They have a lot of options. They could value trade with the Imp Gang Boss to get one of their imps out. They could Mortal Coil for card draw right here, which then they still have another play with the Refreshment Vendor or something else, but they're just going to go ahead and throw that taunt out. It seems like they want to try to keep maybe this Imp Gang Boss a little bit healthy, and they don't want the Totem Golem to have a value trade into it. And this is just going to be really rough for Colorado State now, because now they have to throw their Imp Gang Boss, or sorry, their Totem Golem into that second-rate Bruiser if they want to deal with it, and they still have to use their Weapon Charge if they want to clear it off, and they're really not able to do anything else except maybe throw down another Totem Golem, but this is just not looking too good for Miami. Colorado State owning all the tempo right now, owning the board, and Miami's just been on the back foot this entire time. So now Colorado State, with the board advantage, is going to really have a lot of options here of how they want to deal with it. They could throw both minions in Mortal Coil, but that's, in my opinion, not a good play. But is that the best play at this point? I don't see another play. That Faceless Chamber is one that you definitely don't want to throw down. The Refreshment Vendor actually might be a play here. So with that at 4 mana, they would have another one to spare. So if they want to throw both into this Totem Golem and clear it off with the Mortal Coil, the only problem with that, though, is then they're allowing Miami to really do whatever they want with this board then. But this might just be the play in order to deny Miami any sort of board. They have the Reno Jackson, so they have a way to come back in this game if they lose a lot of health. And it seems like they're going to go ahead and do this. They're going to keep at least one imp alive while doing this. And we'll just see what kind of 5-drop they get. A Doomsayer can delay Miami, but they're going to hold on to it. They might go ahead and use that Doomsayer Faceless Shambler combo in case they have to use it for anything, if they get very desperate. And this just might be a Drake for Ohio State. It's going to be fairly easily cleared off, but they really don't have any other sort of play. And there's that Hammer of Twilight again. That's an interesting weapon that you just don't see too often. Being 4 attack, though, is really good, because there's a lot of these cards now that have that 4 attack that's very hard to deal with, and that 4/2 that brings out is just good enough sometimes. Now, an Emperor pickup here after life tapping for Colorado State. They just don't have enough mana right now to play it, and it seems like they might want to go ahead and throw out the Doomsayer here just to deny Ohio State from doing anything. And after clearing off this Drake, it seems like that's what they're going to do. They don't allow Miami to really put anything on the board. The only problem is, though, we see that Hammer in their hand, and they could just go ahead and use that. The only thing they have to worry about is the possibility of any really sort of ooze or any weapon removal that a lot of Warlocks have been playing, but we do see that they haven't used it, and you have to think they might have used it as tempo not too long ago, and the best thing about the Twilight Hammer is that it has a death rattle, so even if it gets removed, you'll at least get a 4-2 elemental on your side, so I'm actually really liking this play from Miami. It's really their only play. I saw them hovering Aya, but that would have just left you with a 3-3 Jade. I don't think that's really worth it at this point. And I think they're thinking of if they want to go face. At this point, they had their opponents at 24 on turn 7. The other thing at this point, it's roughly a 50-50 that your opponent has Reno, and that percentage is going to increase as the game goes on. So I don't think you could actually try to just win the face game at this point, but maybe they think like they just don't have the value that they could go late game. And with a perfect pickup here for Colorado State, if they had actually one additional mana, they would be able to have 2 8/8s on the board, which would be insane. But they're just going to Emperor at this point to try to get that combo later so they can have an 8/8. And really, there's no easy way for Shaman to deal with that. So once that drops, it's just going to be so good for Colorado State. Now we do see the 4-mana 7/7 coming up for Miami, and that might be something to deal with. But still, Colorado State has all the value in their hand. It's just going to be so good for them as this gets later and later in the game. And you can even see it on Miami's face. They really just don't know what to do in this spot. Like, they might have to use an Argent Horse Rider and take 5 damage face just to deal with this Emperor. And against a Warlock, especially a Reno Lock, who has 9-8 cards in hand, you don't want to allow that Emperor to get a second tick off. That's just so much value that your opponent's now going to have. But it seems like they're actually going to throw down the Drake. They might use the Hammer and the Argent Horse Rider in order to deal with this. That's a lot of resources used for this Emperor. And it's just looking worse for Miami as this game goes on. Now, they are going to have a fairly decent board here, but it's going to be up to Colorado State. Do they want to throw down the 2 8/8s? Do they just want to brand Kazakus now and try to get 2 huge potions for them? Or do they want to go ahead and just try to clear the board and wait for next time? I feel like at this point, get your 2 8/8s out right now, and then it's just going to be really tough. Like, how does Miami go through it? They have no spells in their hand. They already used one Lava Shock that you saw not too long ago. Or not, sorry, Lava Burst that they used a long time ago. So, and they were very desperate on not being able to clear off a Doomsayer or really anything else on board. They had to use a lot of that base damage. You would have saw a Lava Shock go into the Emperor, most likely. Actually, as they're hovering that Hellfire, that could be really good just because, oh, you don't have enough. You would have to throw out the Giant first. You wouldn't have enough mana in order to do both of those. Ooh, this is very interesting from Colorado State of how they want to play this. There's a lot of options here for them. That seems like they're just going to develop a board. I really do like this play. They could still even Hellfire if they want to clear off 2 of the minions on the side of Miami, and I think they're thinking that right now. But they feel like an 8/8 taunt is good enough. But double Flame Tongue coming out from Miami. This might be what they need. Now, this is where it comes to the math of how they position these Flame Tongues. Because if they position correctly, they might be able to value trade into some of these. Because if you put them on each side of one of the 4 attack minions, you could kill that 8/8 taunt. And actually, they could clear the board right now. They won't be leaving anything up except Flame Tongues. But they will at least be able to get rid of these 8/8s on the board. Oh, can they position in a way for the Feral Spirits to come out and get buffed as well? I would really like that play if they're able to do it. I don't think they really have another play. They have another Argent Horse Rider as well. What's the play here? Oh, wow, this is really tough. But it looks like they are going to double Flame Tongue like we saw to deal with that. Oh, they're not going to double, it seems. They're just going to use another Argent Horse Rider. I do not like the placement of that. And I guess the Feral Spirits will come out. Yeah, they'll come up on the right side. Okay, so the placement's not horrible. It'll still bump over to that, but I think they could have sequenced that a little better, I believe. I don't think that was the best way to sequence that. But yeah, it's one of those where I have to think back and try to like really think hard of like what was the best way to sequence that. It was going to be really tough, and this Hellfire never looked better for Colorado State. Great job holding on to that. This even leaves them with enough mana to brand Kazakis here, and I'd be surprised if they don't go for double 10. There's no point not to. Do they want the wave clear, or did they go with the health? They went with the wave clear at this point. Now, are they going for the reload with the demon, or did they go with the health? Most likely going with the demon. I don't think they would really want the health because they're killing their own minions anyway, and they're actually going for a 5, and I like this. Allows them to get some tempo. It gives them the damage for maybe Leroy Jenkins combo as well. But just allows them to... Because sometimes with the Kazakis potion, when you go 10 mana, it's kind of lackluster because you use it and that's your turn. You're at least able to do some big time spell and then develop some sort of minion. It can be a lot better than just dumping a spell. So hopefully we'll get to see of what those spells are. So they did get the 8, and they actually went the freeze too, and I don't know what the first part of that is. So... They went with freeze, and against Jade can be very helpful as the game goes into that late game when they're able to get the 6/6, 7/7, up to like maybe possibly up to 10/10, depending on how many Jade cards Miami has. And now, I feel like just Miami has been having so many tough decisions this game. They need to get rid of that brand. You don't know what else is going to come out. We do see that really the only battle cry that would be effective is the Leroy Jenkins one. And they're not going to want to play that with Bran already up, so they're going to have to draw something else with a huge battle cry in order to want to do that. I just realized, where is Colorado State? Is this like their esports arena at the college? So that is amazing. I think I see something on the TV back there, but I'm liking both setups here. It looks like one's in a library almost, like one's in a library, one's in like some sort of club maybe. I have no clue. This is just really cool of where the students are, and I think this was the right play coming out from Miami. Develop that 7/7 as well as Jade Lightning to clear off the brand. You don't know what they have. Are they going face? Okay, so they are actually going to threaten lethal instead, and maybe Miami right here thinks that they can't play the trading game. They just have to go face. They really have no other shot in this game. And they do develop lethal with this, with that Flame Tongue in hand. So this is now the option of Colorado State of if they want to play the Reno Jackson now, or if they want to try to be greedy and hold off on it for more healing. At this point, you can clear the board and Reno. So I feel like that's the play. You actually don't even need to use Power Overwhelming. You could use the Blast Crystal as well. Or Black Crystal Potion. I forget what the total name of that is. And they're actually going to freeze instead, it seems. I guess they get some armor with it. Okay. So they're just waiting on this one. I feel like because they have the possibility of lethal next turn that this is the right play. And look at the hand of Miami. I think this is going to be game. I don't think they really have any way to deal with this. Yes, and they're going to surrender. So Colorado State does win this first game with a great job of that Reno deck, and being a little cheesy there with the sunglasses. But hey, they got the first win. Well, and we'll definitely return to this in the future to cast more. I just wanted to get something quick out there today. My voice has actually been a little bit raspy. I don't know if you've been watching my League of Legends ones lately, but they've been really, it's been a little rough lately, so I do want to give it a little bit of a break as well. And I'm just really busy. Student life sucks, but what else can I do? Thank you guys for watching. I'll be back to continue the series at some point, and we'll have to see if Ohio there is going, or sorry, Miami, Ohio, is going to be able to come back against Colorado State. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time.